Yo, so this is the week that led to my V11 Flash, and I just wanted to share with you what I did to facilitate that success in my session. But my training cycle now usually consists of 2 days on, both being double session days, which is then followed by an active rest day, and this macro cycle kind of repeats itself throughout the week. Normally the first session of the macro cycle, I have the strength and conditioning session, which is basically just off the wall weights stuff. It's when I'm feeling the most fresh and energetic because it's right after a rest day. So I usually tend to leave the weight stuff to this session to almost kind of have a higher quality of a session. The strength and conditioning sessions normally consist of weighted pull-ups, 5 reps for 3 sets, ring dips, 6 reps for 3 sets, Copenhagen raises for 10 reps, and recently, if you watched any of my recent videos, the face pulls and pancakes. For progression, it's basically whatever I can hit for the full number of sets and reps that I prescribed, and I increase the weight once I can do all of that. For the higher rep exercises, I'll add 1 rep to every time I do them. You definitely don't have to do this much work or weight to climb or flash V11, but the reason I do them and the justification I have is because my goals long term are eventually to push the limits of climbing and maybe get to the World Cups. So I think I would like to be at least strong enough to do so, and also not be limited by my strength. And since strength adaptation takes longer than skill acquisition, I believe, then while I'm training to get better at climbing, being more optimized, I could get stronger in the background. So normally after the morning session, I would then go rest, get some food, lots of protein, and do any homeworks that I have for uni, and that leaves me with enough time to do an evening session. So my local gym has knee boulders every Monday, and I have team practice, and I find that actually doing the strength and conditioning session earlier in the day really helped with recruitment, and I very often rarely feel like weak or tweaky in the evening session. So if I do the pull-ups in the morning, I will basically never have a sub-average session. Like, the worst session I could have is an average productive session. It never will be like a bad session by like proprioception wise, like intrinsic feeling. Typically, an evening session is just trying all the new boulders that they set, and once I finish all of them, I would head up to the board and just faff around there. Generally, these sessions are quite self-directed, so kind of auto-regulation, kind of feel how your body feels. If you feel a little weaker, then adjust accordingly to the climber that you are in that session, and don't try to be overly ambitious or try to like repeat your peak performance, because overall long term that's not the goal. You're trying to maximize the gains that you can get per session for that session. So normally the next morning I like to do a light hangboarding session. This could constitute as a injury prevention session or just a light hangboarding session. It really depends on what you do for the rest of the day. But I find that if you go for a longer period of time, like a day or so, with like big climbing sessions in between them, my fingers tend to get tweaky and kind of stiff, and I like to do some active hanging on the hangboard to kind of almost get them like lubricated. And the second day of my cycle is normally pretty auto-regulated, meaning depending on how good or bad I feel, I'll adjust the training accordingly to the day. So sometimes that would mean just a bigger single session on the board, or either like a lighter home wall session or a system board session, and then a more and then another session in the evening, where I kind of work on my weaknesses and my technique in the morning, and then kind of grade chase in the evening. In this case, it was a big board session, and then because I did the hangboarding in the morning, I felt my fingers were in pretty good shape. So I decided to try some of the boulders I was working on in my previous home board sessions, and to my surprise, I did like the mini project I was trying very quickly, and then I decided to get on this OG project on the home wall that was made when we first put up the set. My roommate Bodhi commented how it could very well be a V11. It is probably like one of the hardest things I've climbed, and I think I'm in V11 form. Then we had a rest day, and me and Bodhi just went to our school's makerspace and made some wooden holds for the board. And then that was the rest day. So the next day was back to strength and conditioning, so the same pull-ups, dips, etc. And this time because I already sent most of the boulders in the gym, I decided to have another home board session, and I tried one of the boulders that Bodhi set the other day, and I managed to get the FA on it. I'm really psyched on that. The next day, my friend Eric, who was coming back from Colorado, visited, so we had a small home board session with him. And of course, in Eric style, we got some crimpers, and he kind of whooped my ass on his boulders. But afterwards, we got some food and then went to the local CRG for another session, and I wanted to try something hard on the Kilter board. I just been really psyched on it because I kind of went down this rabbit hole of watching James DeZong Cook's videos, and I just really wanted to try something that was at the limit of what I thought I could do. In this session, I managed to send 2 Kilter V11s, one of them being the Flash that you clicked on this video for, which is crazy because I didn't think I had that in me. I did send a Kilter V11 before called J101, but I don't think that's a V11. So I decided to hop on other V11s because I think I unlocked a new area of the map in the Kilter board. I guess like all these boulders that I looked impossible now looked easy in a sense. So I got on this boulder called Ham and Cheese and managed to flash it. And even though it was maybe a little softer, I definitely think it was harder than, but I think it showed just the capabilities of my routine. My routine essentially creates a very overpowered climber, and all you have to do is get good at utilizing that power and that strength. And I think in that sense, progression comes a lot faster because learning to use what you have is always going to be easier than probably gaining the strength and then using them. But yeah, it was a big breakthrough. I'm excited for more things to come.